Welcome back, everybody, to the 13th week of the Mario Maker Workshop. This is a workshop in which we are learning game design by using Mario Maker 2 as our platform of choice, and we are building levels and collaborating and giving feedback and doing just about everything else. We've gone through 12 intense weeks so far. If you don't know who we are, you can find us pretty easily at designoriented.net. Let me show you the website. Right there. You go to the website, you scroll down until you see something yellow, boom, that's us at the workshop. What's interesting about the workshop is that's us. Those are all of our me's. We've been working hard to various degrees to fill out these conditions and to learn various things about level design. If you want to catch up, we have a lesson hub right here with 10 or so lessons that go into great detail about what we did to learn this particular aspect of game design and how you can get involved with assignments or to see our results or whatever. Each one of these is accompanied by a live stream like this one, so each one explains things very thoroughly, very slowly, and very carefully. But now, all of that learning, all that experimentation, just about all of it is over. We are heading into the third and final semester of the Mario Maker Workshop, and let me show you exactly what that means. Let's go to the Mario Maker Worksheet and go to the Courses tab. So for the way we generally organize this course, and the way that we talk about level design is we have a 21-point criteria that we evaluate everything by. And we look at the gameplay idea, which you probably can't read very well. Let's just do that. The gameplay idea of what the level is, what kind of theme it has in terms of its aesthetics, what basic layout of the basic platforms and shapes that you can platform through, enemy design, the design of coins and power-ups, difficulty design, which includes dexterity, knowledge, adaptation, reflex, and timing. We talk about fairness, we talk about the different layers to the level, the different ways you can engage and find unique challenges that are maybe present but not mandatory. And we talk about secrets, pacing, speed running, developing a concept, a gameplay idea through multiple iterations within a level. We talk about counterpoint, and we talk about principles. And principles are the things that generally, if you abide by these, your levels will exhibit a certain level of quality, a certain level of quality, a certain level of polish, and this is why principles are some of our most important takeaways here at the workshop. And then we have clarity and camera, all very important different topics concerning level design. Well, we spent a long time learning these things, and we've done specific lessons and specific exercises and specific discussions just to get our handle on everything up until fairness right here. So all that's been great, but now we're really going to put all of this knowledge to work. We're going to actually focus on making levels, not just assignments, not just exploring a concept for the purpose of learning. We're going to start making levels for the purpose of making great levels and having fun and potentially getting popular in Mario Maker, so on and so forth. So instead of focusing so much on these yellow items here, which are the most complex items to discuss, we are going to start something in this workshop that we call the workbench. Now, before I get into that, let me explain a little bit about what's going on here at the workshop. So let me click on this. Semester 3 co-working, as you can see here. This website hasn't been published yet, so don't look for it. But essentially in the last 12 weeks of Mario Maker Workshop, we've been through a lot of things. We started with 7 people and have expanded to 27. Some members are only here briefly, but some have put in a lot of effort consistently every week. And most members are somewhere in between. The beauty of this communal learning system is that everything contributed builds up to the whole. Everything matters and nothing is forgotten. A single course submitted to the Courses tab, which I'll show you here, just, right here, this is what we were looking at. We've submitted 199 different courses, and each individual box is feedback, and we've submitted 3,249 different pieces of feedback, just to give you an idea. Everything submitted to the Courses tab in our collaborative online worksheet gives other members an opportunity to provide clear feedback, exercise their design breakdown skills, and stretch the range of gameplay possibilities that they've experienced. Even a partially formed idea tucked away in the side of a throwaway level can be the spark of something great, and it's clear to us where this spark started. Everyone in the workshop gave an amount of effort to improve or an effort to improvement that they were comfortable with, and we all have various levels of experience, passion for talking about games, making the best Mario levels, and improving our game design skills overall. So these were the 3 goals that we set for the workshop, and it's clear now that we have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to achieving these goals. So now the real work begins. So co-working, which is a little concept, keep that in mind, special term. Co-working is about systematizing learning. Now, co-working is actually about, I'm going to have to redefine that. Anyway, and it can only be done by leveraging the communal learning unit. So the kind of style of learning that we're doing here in the workshop is communal learning. Everything is open to everybody. All of our effort, all of our knowledge, all of our accomplishments and questions and shortcomings all get funneled into one central place, and everyone is free to bounce ideas off of each other, learn off of each other, and share in that information. So instead of a lot of individualized effort with individual people keeping things and the results kind of private or whatever, everything is open by default, and it sets a very different landscape for learning that we have enjoyed thoroughly in the past 12 weeks. So using this communal learning style, the Mario Maker Workshop, our final test is to make Mario courses in a modular fashion. So with these courses, we're not just going to sit down as a single person and try to make a course from start to finish. We have the experience, the language, and the functionality, right? The infrastructure to make courses and understand game design and execute on our knowledge of game design in a very modular way. So this means instead of each person focusing on and prioritizing their individual courses, we will all work together and prioritize these shared projects. And that just reminds me, I need to get the chat going because I always forget this. Cool. Work together. So instead of us trying to create the best Mario levels on our own, we treat the community as us and we leverage our diversity. So a common problem I see in indie game development is that creators work alone. The pros of being able to work on your own is that you get to work at your own pace and make all the creative decisions. But the cons are developers will likely be overworked and stretched too thin trying to acquire skills in disciplines they have little to no experience with. The reality is, all learning is likely more effective with others, whether that's from the help of a mentor, teacher, or some kind of learning community. The pros of communal learning are significant, and it is time that we lean into that fully. Every workshop member has strengths and weaknesses. The first step is identifying what these are, and the beauty of communal learning is that everybody knows everyone. So even if it's purely through the experience of just playing Mario Maker courses that we've made and providing feedback, we know the kinds of elements each other tends to use, the type of level design layers each prefers, the general level of difficulty we fall back on, and much more. So using the same detail system that we break down levels and level design for the Mario courses, we have created a detailed assessment of our pros and cons. Now let me show you what that looks like. Again, everything in the workshop is not only public and open to the members, but to everybody else if you're curious. So you can find the links to this worksheet and many other things via our website. But here is the question blocks / questionnaire that we took in anticipation of working in this third semester of the Mario Maker Workshop. It includes 19 or so questions, 21 questions, and things like what type of Mario Maker 2 courses do you enjoy playing most, what kind do you not enjoy playing or / hate playing, when playing courses, what aspect of the level design do you recognize the easiest? Like, oh, look at these coins, they're so neat. Like all the time you're talking about coins, then you should probably put coins. What playing courses? Whoa. When playing courses, let's fix that. When playing courses, what level design aspect can you recall most accurately after a single play? And everyone has different answers here. I put difficulty design, really? What aspects of level design do you struggle to talk about the most, right? In different aspects. What assignments did you find the most difficult? Which assignments did you find surprisingly fun? What aspect of course creation takes up most of your time? And I can do this to make this a little easier. Boom. What aspect of course creation takes up most of your time? What aspect of course creation can you complete quickly without trouble? And in course creation, which aspect do you struggle with the most? And then it's just how would you describe your basic style using these particular categories. And if you could pick 3 of your courses to remake and do over, which 3 would they be? And if you could, how do you feel about this third semester? And then finally, if you could work on a new level from scratch based on the gameplay ideas that we've collected here in this gameplay ideas tab, which is one place that we collect all the ideas that we may have or we have for potential levels. We're up to 313 different ideas right here, all categorized and described very neatly. Boom. So from that list, which ones would you be the most excited to work on? And the results are interesting. As you can see, even just with the color coding, let's do that. Even with the color coding, we have a diversity of talent, right? No two columns are the same. Some people are better at power-ups. Some people focus on coins, theme, layers, gameplay ideas, coins, basic layout, difficulty design, principles. Some people focus on enemy design. Adrian, he focuses on enemies. Some people focus on other things, but otherwise, we have clearly some diversity here amongst our most active members. And we're going to utilize this information to better create courses together. This is just a flyby. Going into detail into this information is something that anybody can do on their own time, but it's just to help better learn how their fellow workshoppers have progressed up until this point. So I'll just go over my own answers. I don't like casual levels and levels that throw in a bunch of junk. When playing courses, what aspect do I recognize the easiest? Principles. I'm always pointing out principles. Principles are one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Universal aspects to breaking down game design and level design, right? Because the principles are always based on something. So to show you a little bit of what we're working with, this is our tab that we collect principles. Hey, fundamental, good word there. Principles are fundamental. That's Jeff in the chat. So essentially we have this tab here, or the sheet. We collect principles. We describe what the principle is, what aspect of design they pertain to, whether it's coins or clarity or pacing or basic layout or fairness, level design, difficulty design, whatever. We give it an importance level, like always do this, sometimes do this, usually do this. And then we give it a type. Don't worry about that. If it pertains to only one Mario style, you can put that there. But here we talk about the purpose, like why should we care about multi-coin block entirety? This is when you have a multi-coin block in a level and you be sure that the player can collect all 10 coins as some version of Mario. Sometimes they may need a power-up to do it, sometimes whatever, but they've got to be able to collect all 10 coins out of it. This may require that the block be placed at a certain height off the ground, or with enough warning that you can see it in enough time, or with the platform that pauses to let you get enough time to hit them. But this is important. Why? Because clear, communicated challenge and parameters of interactivity. In the same way that all coins must be collectible, in general for Mario, if you see a coin, you can collect it. The 10 coin is a multi-coin, the 10 coins in a multi-coin block must be collectible. So when you see a multi-coin block, you don't wonder, I wonder if it's possible to get all 10 coins out of that. You say to yourself, I can get all 10 coins out of that. How is that possible? And one sort of incites curiosity, challenges the player, and causes them to reevaluate the level design. The other is just an open-ended question that may either be true or false, and who knows if you actually set it up to be possible or not. So this is important to always do, right? Because every single one, if it's possible, the player will never get into a situation, hopefully, they may think so, but they'll never technically be in a situation where they can't do it, and that when you have 0 examples in your memory of something being negative, then you are super confident about it being the positive, right? So if it's like you messed up 2 out of 72 times, you probably remember those 2 times. You're like, I don't know, there was that one time. But if it never happens, you'll be dead set in that this particular aspect of the design or this part of the gameplay is a specific way for a reason. And it's another way of saying that your game design and your principles speak. And when you are very adamant about upholding these principles, that information, that clarity, that intent is communicated to the player very clearly. So principles are important. We collect quite a lot of them. There's a whole list of them here. They grow by the day, hopefully, by the week. And back over to Q blocks, okay? So principles are the thing that I recognize the easiest when playing courses. What aspects do I recall most accurately after a single play? Difficulty design. Sure. I probably should put... I might have to put something like layers or development. Yeah, it's kind of unique here. But anyway, what aspect of level design do you struggle to talk about? Development. I'm not putting development. What assignments did you find most difficult? What's that? Enemy gauntlets. My enemy levels were too hard, so I need to work on how to use enemies. Which assignment did you find surprisingly fun? The extra credit for the first assignment. What aspect takes up most of my time? Pacing. What aspect of course creation do you complete quickly without trouble? Layers. I can easily put secrets or folded level design or alternate paths or all kinds of things in my level without trying very hard. In course creation, what aspect do you struggle with the most? Basic layout. My levels are so flat. They're like empty rooms that I shove stuff in. Not very cool. It's definitely something that I will lean on other people and their expertise for. And other general things I describe my style. It doesn't matter. So, the gameplay ideas from the gameplay idea list. These are some of the ones I'm interested in doing. And here's how we're going to take this information and roll it forward into our assignments. So instead of having our bingo boards like this, power up bingo, 100%, enemy bingo, 100%, bonus bingo, 100%, and let's not click on the decart bingo. I'm just kidding, 33%. Instead of having a bingo board like this where we all pick different combinations of parameters and constraints and then try to create an example that fulfills those conditions, this semester we are doing something we're going to call the workbench. Now here is our workbench. Boom. You can find the workbench by clicking on this little hamburger symbol in the bottom left. You probably can't see it on stream, but it's the button down there, and look for the black dots. That easily is how you find the workbench. You don't have to scroll too much. You get here, and this is where everything is going to happen. So like I said in the description, here is where we are going to create projects, scope them properly, assign tasks to other members of the workshop, and hopefully build on our strengths while avoiding our weaknesses. Every project has this much. I'm just going to hide these columns so you can clearly focus. Boom. Every project is just this horizontal row right here. Each project is going to have a scope plan, right? 15 points of scope. You have to stay at that number or below in order to pass. If you get above that, you got to start changing stuff. That is the rule. Each project will have a project lead, so I'm going to put myself here. Ew, I don't want my name to separate like that. There we go. And I will zoom in for extra fun. Project lead. Each project has a start date. Let's just do that. And due date, let's just say that. Oop, no. That +5. You should be able to complete these projects in 5 days, let's say. Screenshot link, we don't have one yet. So every person who starts a project is going to start filling out this initial section, and like we said in the blocks, let's say that we're going to start with intermittent floor. This is a gameplay idea that I picked third on my list for one I wanted to do, so I'm going to start it off with this one in my workbench. Type here, intermittent. The gameplay idea is right here. Boom. It puts it right there. This needs to be formatted. How is that not formatted properly? What did you do? You are bizarre. That was weird. Okay, we'll just do that. Intermittent floor. And we'll do a little bit of that. Okay, so I picked a gameplay idea. Let's go ahead and go to the workshop search in order to find out what that means. This is a tool that's available for anyone in the workshop. Intermittent floor. It comes up one result from the gameplay ideas. Nothing else talks about intermittentness. That's fine. Using blinking blocks with enemies coming out of pipes above, creating a dangerous place for both players and enemies. If you ever want to find out more information, you either hold control and you hold shift. Nope. You click on the link and then you click on the link that pops up and it takes you directly to the entry. If you want to know more about it, you can talk to Harbros. He's one of our members. If you want to know where he got this idea from, it's blink block beat from assignment number 8. And here's the code if you want to play the level. All the information is there. So we go back to the workbench. And, where else are I? Let's start with this. I'm just going to copy this for now. Boom. And I'm going to go to the workbench. Let's just say the project description is we're going to use blinking blocks with enemies coming out of pipes to create a dangerous place for the player and enemies. And let's say that use pits sparingly. I want the player to get trapped and find new escape possibilities. Not too many enemies, so make them dynamic. You know, maybe ants, maybe something else. I kind of wanted the blinking blocks to be an interesting ant colony-like tunnels, something like that. I'm thinking this needs to be much smaller. Cool, so these are the ideas I put in the project description. I'm trying to give everyone a general idea of what the project's going to be like. Let's just say like get through and break free to open air. So that's kind of how we want the level to end. General idea. Then we have to go and start scoping out our project. We have a scope plan of 15. You go over here and you think to yourself, okay, well, this needs enemies, so I don't know where the ants are in the Super Mario 3D world, but let's just pretend like they're in 2. Okay, that's already a scope of 4. Automatically gets calculated and put here. Okay then, coins. All right, floating regular coins. At least 3 coins placed directly on blocks. At least 1 multiple coin block. Coins out of reach from Super Mario. Pink coins. At least 1 big coin. At least 1 hidden block coin. We'll just do floating regular coins. Nothing too crazy. This level, let's just get this idea across and not try to do anything too crazy. Let's just, for damage boosting, let's just do 1 super mushroom. Nothing crazy. And how we're going to execute on this is, let's do something unique with damage boosting. It's unique defense-ish. Your butt stomp gets stronger in 3D World when you're Big Mario, is that correct? So let me just do this. Ground pound. Knowledge. You can ground pound into the water and submerge Goomba. Break, fall, stall, fall, midair, ground pounds. You can ground pound and kill a large piranha plant looking at a pipe if you pound next to it, really. Large Goomba shoes can ground pound. Enemies can interact with seesaws with ground pound. You can actually move very slowly left or right while in a ground pound. I didn't know that. Falling in midair, apparently. You can ground pound in midair to stall repeated technique. That one's in there multiple times. Ground pound. Mario jumps on enemies and stomps them dead like the ground pound. Oh, Shell Mario does. Ground pounding a block with a mushroom will destroy it if the mushroom is just there's no space for the power up. Ground pounding a block with a propeller hat will deploy a hat normally even if there's a solid ground beneath it. Alright, so we don't know much more about ground pounding than that. We're just gonna have to figure it out. Obtaining. We want the mushroom to move around and kind of do stuff in the ant hill like structure. So I got about 8 more points left, right? So I could either leave my scope total like this and maybe potentially add those 8 points later, or I can just go ahead and try to completely plan out this thing. So speed run. Multiple paths are viable with different skills tested. Can you guys see that on the stream? Yeah, you can. Multiple paths are viable with different skills tested. Tricky maneuvers with soft penalties. Tricky maneuvers with harsh penalties. Simple path with small optimizations everywhere. Complex alternate paths with viable possibilities that have various penalties. Complex alternate paths with nonlinear structure that awards a wide range of skills or whatever. Like, okay, those are different levels of scope. So let's do tricky maneuvers with soft penalties. All right. Pacing. So if I wanted this level to have some degree of, well, if you can see a more difficult way to go, or you can kind of take it slow and easy with the slow way, then it kicks my scope up to near max, right? So that's already kind of pushing it. That means I can't have any secrets, and I probably can't do anything with layers for the most part. I might adjust some of these later, but that's okay. That's okay. I think that's all I need. So now that I see that I have these various ideas in mind, I've actually clarified what the level could play like in my head, more so than if I just tried to describe it all here. I thought about each one of these columns, thought about my experiences playing in the workshop and the levels that I played, and go, okay, I know obtaining mushroom power-ups is pretty fun. I'm gonna go for that. I know it's relatively simple when dealing with power-up execution. Blah, 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 blah. I know all this junk. So now I have to think, if I make the basic layout, which the basic layout always starts with Super Mario 3D World. Where is it? We don't even have one in here. So now I'm thinking in a very general sense, what is the level gonna actually look like? Is it gonna be like the Super Mario Brothers, which is kind of like flat, with distinct blocky platforms? Is it like Bros 3 that had some cave levels with some slants and diagonals and little pools of water and enemies that drop down but open spaces? Is it like Super Mario World where it has lots of open spaces but then super cramped spaces with moving platforms? Is it like New Super Mario Brothers in which they have some kind of fusion of those things? Is it only rooms? Is it a vertical stage? Auto-scrolling? I don't want to start off with a vertical one. I want to keep this simple. Auto scroll is kind of neat. But if it's not, so if it's a vertical stage, auto scrolling, you can push the tempo by like advancing upwards, I think. Well, we're not going to do auto scroll. Screw that. Let's do a Bros 3 style layout. Even though the blinking blocks are only in 3D World, I can still think about the general layout of Super Mario Bros. 3 and the principles that they have there. Okay. I will. So I'm not good with enemies, right? But I know Marcus did something with these ant things before and made interesting ant shapes in his enemy gauntlet. Do we have the screenshot for that? Lesson hub enemy complexity right here. You go to the lesson. What's the lesson? What's the takeaway? Nothing, apparently. Just trying to see if we have a screenshot of what I'm thinking about. There we go. Enemy complexity. So this webpage took a long time to load for good reason. This is a graphical layout of all of our enemy rooms that we created for our enemy gauntlet. I'm going to look for 3D like graphics. So here's one of Marcus's. Here it is. The ants in the bottom right corner. It's not going to let me zoom. Well, no matter. They're right here in the bottom right corner that you can't see. Right here. He made this interesting block formation using ants in the Super Mario 3D World style. And there's probably better screenshots I could go to, like this one, or here. It's got it loaded, apparently. Did I upload like the biggest pictures ever? Screw you. Or I can just play this video if it plays. It's not gonna play. Nothing works. Let's just pretend like my internet is not working. Cool. Let's go back here. So thinking back on our past experience, I know Marcus can do something with enemies. If I do the basic layout, he can fill in some other things. I've done some stuff with power-ups here, so I'm going to do the basic layout and put some of this in. And coins, you know, we'll leave this open to anybody to, right here. Feel free to assign this to anybody if anybody sees this. We'll say in progress, and this is just assigned. And then who's going to be responsible for doing this? who's really adamant about speed running and tweaking that? Let's just throw it to, for now. Actually, just going to type in the word speed. Sort levels, Dr. Haji with interesting speedrun pathing. Okay, he's the only one that mentioned speed running, so we're gonna throw him another block right here, Haji, and we're gonna let somebody else make the level easier, because after I touch it, it's just gonna be too hard. We'll make Bleach do it, because Bleach has a hard time with my levels, and if he actually gets his hands on it, maybe he can make it much more palatable. So that's my plan, right? I've actually thought about things in this project a lot more detailed than you'd probably ever do if you were just playing it on your own or whatever. This is the scope. Since I'm the first person to create this project, I currently assign it to myself because I'm starting things off. And now we will go to the actual game itself. What am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. Any questions, anybody? No questions. Cool. So let's pretend like we're actually doing this assignment, because we actually are. Let's go to course maker. Oh, I probably should stop the stream from playing and wasting my bandwidth. Okay. So let's just 3, 2, 1. So a lot of what we're trying to do here is play to our strengths, but we're also trying to avoid our common pitfalls, and some of them are spending too much time on parts of the level as you try to figure things out. Sometimes getting a fresh pair of eyes and so on and so forth, just really it's a more efficient way of doing it. And now we've built that sort of best practice into our workflow itself. So we got some Mario here. We're gonna do some underground sand ants. Let's do underground. Okay. So we're gonna try to keep everything on 3 horizontal screens, and what I mean by that is, well, that's already 1 screen, man. This is 2 screens right here, and this is 3 screens right here. Oh, so my flagpole's right there, perfect. And I'm not gonna go vertically if at all possible. We're gonna try to get everything done that we need right here. Okay. A little known fact, if you don't put anything off the top on the second block, so to speak, the camera will never scroll up there because there's no reason to scroll up there. Okay. So looking back at the worksheet, I'm gonna try to do this real quick. First I need to find out what enemy wheel the ants are on. That could blow my scope. Oh cool, enemy wheel 1. Wow, I just saved myself a point there. Cool. So basically, using blinking blocks and enemies, I like slopes, I like other things. Let's just make it to where the rough... I'm too zoomed in, I don't know what buttons I'm hitting. Let's go here, start with our terrain. Let's just start with a sharp drop. Yeah, that's what I wanted. let's lock this. How do we lock it? Those are some nice HD assets. Let me just make sure I'm okay, displaying it properly. So if we stand back, let's say the colony goes just a big old V, right? So like we got stuff there, we got stuff here. It hits a nice low point. And then after the low point, we might have like a platform here. And then we might start rising again on our ascent. And then we might even use this. That was weird. And then we might even cut back a little bit. Why not? Oh, this is already dipping up into the second layer. We have already overscoped. Maybe it should be 4 screens. Anybody have an opinion on that? I've already run out of stuff. Nope, 3 screens. So we can't quite do the thing where you break up into the surface. But we can do this. This is good enough. We can kind of do this. We want to leave plenty of room for maneuverability principle. Even though it's going to be tight spaces, we're going to try to do this. Alright. Big open spaces, more tight spaces right here at the end. That might change, doesn't matter. But we're going to go into our premier item, which is the blink blocks. Never used them before. Don't know where they are. Hey, is my footage just freaking out and blinking in and out for no reason? There we go. Blinking block. I'm assuming these are universal, right? So let's give the player something to do right off the bat. Let's keep these platforms much more simple. Just this. This. Too small a space. Too close of a thing. And this can turn into a pipe very easily because we're supposed to have enemies, but let's introduce enemies after this introduction. Just make some basic geometric shapes. It's what I've learned from our workshop on basic layout. Basic geometric shapes in Mario games work really well. Okay, this is some kind of random intro section. About to die. Okay, that kind of bypassed a lot of stuff. Okay, so that. It's good enough. So, if that's our first section, then our second section is going to introduce some of the ants and the pipes. Stop. I don't think we need pipes, actually. Let's just get some ants in there. Yeah, we got ants. And then the final development is going to be big ants. That should keep it nice and simple. We'll do 3. So let's just enjoy. Why isn't this working? What am I doing wrong? Oh yeah, that's a little confusing. So we'll make sure all the blue platforms are support, which these are really bad platforms. And we'll make sure the red platforms are the verticals. Wow, they die. They die easily. To the pipe. This pipe is... Oh, they're just crazy. What are they doing? Let's get them to do that. Let's get them to do that something's sustained and floating in midair. Let's make this. That guy just died. Oh, they're just leaving. Oh. They crawl out of the pipe and immediately start walking on the outsides. That means this needs to be like this, and this needs to be like this. Let's see if that works. How did you do that? I really don't like that. Like, get back here, Mario. I was just trying to hold random buttons. Oh, this could be an interesting way to protect yourself. Gameplay idea. Cryostasis, like this. I wonder if bullet bills and stuff can hurt you when you're in cryostasis. Interesting. Alright. Alright, hold on, guys. We have to figure this out. Bullet bills have to hurt you. Do they only have bonsai? Bill Blaster. Okay, so once we figure this out, I did not think this through. I was just like, what's happening? Okay, how about this? Oh, what? You were muted? Oh, neat! That is so cool! Cryostasis. Okay, hold on, guys. That is so cool. I'm going to put that in the gameplay ideas immediately. Yep. Gameplay ideas. You can do this with on-off blocks too, so it's not 3D World specific, but I'm going to call it cryostasis or stasis field. Using dotted line blocks, gotta use the official terms, or blinking blocks to allow the player to jump inside of thick formations. When they turn on, Mario is frozen in cryostasis, which protects him from enemies that cannot penetrate solid objects. I didn't know that bullet bills in this game, I guess, don't penetrate solid objects. I'm not sure what's happening. Used to suspend in mid-air, defensive protection, or what else could you use that for? There's really not much else you can do. Or to hide from other players. This is a concept, so we'll just do this. Any game mode, any Kirby Kid date. Of course, cool. Let's get rid of this. That almost gives me a completely different idea for this level. Like, screw ants. let's just leave that. And let's make these guys go in a big loop instead of killing themselves. Bill Blaster. Okay. And let's go crazy. This slant kind of makes things interesting and unique. And this seems to be all we can do with this. This doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm doing it. Cool. Some hot garbage. Okay, so let's say that I didn't even put the power up. And I even put the enemies in. That was dumb. Let's just put Marcus over here then. And he can fix my enemies. Let's do this. Essentially, I'm just gonna shove a mushroom into the thing while we wait. Alright, let's say I did these. So, we get to a point where I've laid down the basic foundation. There's other things that other people that I have planned to take over, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to how to pass this along. All the instructions are in the workbench instructions here. Wow. Just don't want to. So how to start a project, you just go one by one down here. How to pass, which is what we're about to do now. You double check your level, because once you pass you may probably never work on it again. You take up to 4 switch screenshots, which we can capitalize that, of the course in editor view. You keep it in standard zoom, you frame things with the full screen size, and you use your best judgment. You go for clarity. So while we're in the editor, I could zoom out and do it because that looks pretty clear, but let's just follow the instructions. How about that? How do we get rid of that stuff? Okay. So this is like one entire screen size. I'm going to do this. So if that's 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. Okay, so I'm just going to do it a little bit more than 1, so it doesn't need to go that far. As long as I keep that yellow dot, it's pretty clear what's happening in the first part. Do that. Here's 1 switch screenshot. Here's 2. I always try to have something on the left and right side that kind of stays the same, so people can get it.
Switch back.
Oh, okay.
You can't see the screen.
Yeah. There we go. So I took the 1 screenshot here, and I kept the yellow dot on the screen for a point of reference. I'm going here, and I will take another switch screenshot, and I'm gonna go here, take the final switch screenshot. Oh, didn't do it. Oh, I didn't know those guys did that. There's so much to explore even while making the level. Like, I don't have a lot of experience with 3D World, so there's a lot I don't know. Okay, so let's pretend like that's good enough. We go to the album. We look at all the pictures that I've taken without permission. And Jeff basking in the glory of winning in his own level. So these are the 3 I want. We go to editing and posting. We go post batch. We go to up to 3. From the same software, why? You can't select anymore. They only let you do 4. Keep that in mind. And we go post. And hopefully you have your Twitter account handy. And oh, did I even specify? Like, I don't think you have to write anything, but probably should specify. You take up to 4 Switch screenshots. You tweet the screenshots along with the project name. So the project name, which you can't see right now. Just going through the instructions. You tweet the screenshot with the project name. Project name is intermittent floor. Intermittent floor. I'm just gonna type that here. So capital intermittent. Haha, autocomplete. How do you make a space? Why? Floor. Okay. You flag the status as complete from the complete field, which I did. Consider leaving a note in the gray boxes, so this is pretty important. I will say here, for the enemies, oops, I already started. Feel free to change these jerks up. Coins, power-ups, I just slapped a mushroom in the middle / crazy area. Maybe move to the first area for an easy challenge / reward for doing it better. That's probably something I should do before passing it, but too bad. Let's do that. That's too much. And then for the execution, the mushroom is supposed to steadily move around because of the blinking. Should be deterministic for consistent results. Okay, so what I'm gonna do at the very end is I'm gonna make sure I pass it off to, with my last 2 points, I'm gonna give this a 0. I'm gonna say I'm over scope. I think the interesting part of something that we'll have to figure out is when you make your level, it's always going to fall under something, some development, some kind of pacing. So I don't know if these should either be this many points or you should only do this if you are assigning it to somebody else to take care of with that many points. That kind of seems like a weird gray area. So we're gonna knock down the pacing, just increasing difficulty. Now we're within scope. And I'm gonna tweet this. Say okay, okay. And post to Twitter. Posted via PC or check PC or smart device. That's crazy. Smart devices. So we go back over here. It's my Twitter, and we look down and intermittent floor. We right click the time part right here. We say copy link or whatever, and then we can go to the worksheet. We double click here, and click paste. Here's the screenshot, passing it off to Dr. Haji, and he can open this up, see that he's assigned that, and potentially this. I think you only assign it when you're telling him to do it. And then, so then, you know, the next person, you go to Discord and you say, hey, Dr. Haji, pick up where I left off in the appropriate channel. Dr. Haji, now you have to carry that weight. And that's the general idea. So right now, apparently, hopefully, something's wrong with the formatting. Marcus will get the notification. He'll see the project here. He'll click on the Twitter link. He'll see how much it's progressed. If he has any questions, he can obviously just ask. He can check out these notes here, which this should be much smaller font. Check out the notes section, look at where the project's going based on the original description. At any point, the project lead can change any of this information in this first box. It really should only be the project lead. But like, let's say I find something more interesting in the level and I want to play that up. You can put that and change the main description. Yeah, maybe ants. We might scrap that altogether. So it's really not up to the person, the people who get assigned stuff, to make big design changes like this. This is only for the project lead. They're just trying to, for the best of their ability, figure out what the project is, see what they're assigned to do, look at the scope level, and then just do it and pass it along, right? Nothing too crazy there. One thing that I will go over is that, let's assume it passes to Marcus, and Marcus completes the areas, and then it gets passed to Bleach. Let's see, where is Bleach? And let's say the pacing is increasing in difficulty. And let's say Bleach looks at the screenshot and looks at what's there and says it looks like it's increasing in difficulty. He doesn't necessarily have to recreate the level, but that's probably a good idea. But if Bleach makes the call and says, yeah, it looks good, Bleach can either immediately pass it off to Zera, or Bleach can, if Bleach says, oh, I'm not ready to handle this, I'm like gonna go save the president or cure cancer or something like that, then he can always pass this along to somebody else and contact them and kind of give him what his task would be. But if it gets all the way to Zera, or if Bleach is the last person, then they are what I call the finisher. To receive, you know, you click on a screenshot link, you read the assigned task, you review, you determine whether or not you need to quick pass it, or you can flag it as in progress. If you do not take the task, you can reassign it. If the scope target isn't filled out, you pick a scope target for the task. You keep it within the totals. So if Bleach gets it and it says nothing here, right? It just says nothing. And he sees that, oh, well, we got it 3 points. He could go over here in a pacing and be like, decreasing difficulty, boom. Or he could pick increasing difficulty, boom, like that. And he can decide for himself how to use the remaining points. But if it's maxed out, the project lead did something wrong, very wrong. But if you're the last person, you finish, you double check the course, you check for soft locks, you check for out of place things and pieces just hanging off to the side that maybe you never even put there. You just give it a good look over. Consider adding or removing a checkpoint, use your best judgment. We're going to try to make all these levels very playable. So adding a checkpoint kind of doesn't hurt. These levels should be short enough that you shouldn't be spending a lot of time with the clear condition. You make a copy of the course and you proceed to upload. You do the course clear. You format your title like semester 3, colon, and then you put the gameplay idea, which is just written, you know, right here, intermittent floor. You, in the description, you say a collab for the Mario Maker Workshop, and then you put credits, and you try to put everyone's name as you can. All their names are just going to be here, like that. And you add it to the courses tab in this worksheet. You set the maker, so the courses tab right here. the maker normally is us, but I added one new entry called the workshop. So that's what you flag it as. And then you celebrate on the Discord channel because we completed something insane and seemingly too complicated. Yeah. So whether you start a project, anybody can start a project. We can have multiple of these things going on at the same time. That's how it's designed to work. It's just going to stress our ability to communicate and to scope properly. And if it looks like somebody's got a lot on their plate, or if they say I got a lot on my plate, scope properly. Just take it all into account. You pass things along. When you pass it, you're probably never going to get it back. With the one exception being if you are the project lead, you have to start it, but you can put your name somewhere down the line, like in this second section over here with all the gold stuff, and be like, if you want to finish it, maybe you can put your name here, like Kirby Kid. And then it has to pass by you before it completes, so then you can kind of make sure you're the last one, something like that. If you're the last one, you get a little bit more leeway. Let's see, to finish. Oh yeah, here's some tips. Yeah, the basic layout includes some basic implementation of the gameplay idea. So even though I put enemies in this course, right, you have to kind of start things off, otherwise you won't have enough to do. You keep your courses small, 2 to 3 screens. Maybe this should be 3 to 4, but 3 is a little tight. Minimize the use of sub areas, so like don't use them. You should be able to take all the screenshots in the editor, up to 4 pictures in a single Twitter post. Do not remove or significantly tamper with any element that is not in your currently assigned task within reason. If you have to move something, move it. It's not that crazy. If you are the finisher of the course, of the project, really, you are free to expand the course size-wise. Do not remove elements previously put in by other people as much as possible. Because you're the last person, you can make it the level bigger and you don't have to worry about it passing it on to anybody else. You're the last person, but you got to make sure you're the last person. Each project must be passed at least once before it's complete. You may be assigned a task by anyone. Check the workbench for tasks or check the Discord. I'm going to keep that updated so you don't need to check everywhere. Right click on the cell to make a comment. Don't do that. Once the core Mario elements are done, basic layout, coins, and power-ups, only then can you move on to the other elements, right? So that's basically saying you've got to get this core done, everything in this first little section right here, before you assign anything or anybody can pick up anything out here, because all of these high level design considerations depend on the core being there for the most part. So we're just gonna take things in that order. Once the core, only one finisher, they have creative flexibility, kind of explained that already. Do not overscope, but you do not have to fill in all the slots. Never pass back to anyone who has worked on the thing before. If you hit the scope total, you are automatically the finisher. This is kind of weird. You really shouldn't leave blanks open, because the project lead really needs to be able to anticipate, the things that are going to be worked on in the course. So if you leave something blank, it's kind of a wild card. But if you can handle it and you scope it properly, then that's good. But if you hit the scope total, you're not automatically the finisher if you hit the scope total, because hitting the number, you can still pass it to somebody else if they were already planned to be in the works. So let's just do that. Take a maximum of 2 to 3 days to complete what you're assigned. If you can't do it for whatever reason, feel free to pass it on. I want the entire sort of level to be wrapped up in about 5 days, no matter how many passes it is. So kind of get in and get out. If you are busy a day, then maybe pass it, right? By the end of the week, everyone should probably dump all their passes to me, and I'll just do them all on stream. Or not, if that's way too much work. We'll see how it happens. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. Kind of straightforward, right? You do stuff that it says, and then you give it to somebody else. We've taken screenshots on the Switch before. We've shared things on Twitter before. We've updated the courses before. But this is all like a one-stop shop that takes just about everything into consideration. So hopefully it's not too overwhelming. Your task could be as simple as changing the coins and passing it along. That's pretty cool. It doesn't seem too complicated, but you know, do your job and move on. Yeah, so I don't have any more things to add. This is kind of an experiment. We're going to take it easy this week. All the scope plans for this week are going to be 15. Uh, so I'm going to go ahead and expand and keep these open. If I need to copy paste more, just let me know. But anyone can feel free to jump in and start putting in a project. Uh, I probably need to work more on this ant one before I actually pass it to Marcus. Unless he's actually started working on it now, then I'll just let it be. But the idea is to stick within what you know, scope appropriately, and try to envision in a more detailed way, in a more design-oriented way, what your level needs, what would be interesting, being flexible enough to contact people or change course, and how to communicate that midstream. All of those are important, valuable skills that'll be essential for building, working with any studio, or continuing to work with DO as we do other projects once the workshop is over. So essentially, this is our training ground and our test bed for whether or not we can actually work together. After spending 12 intense weeks, we better be able to do something with all that. Otherwise, nothing will work, and we're all doomed anyway. So how's that for optimism? So let me just wrap this thing up. Thanks for joining me on the recap 13 of the Mario Maker workshop. It was pretty interesting to see exactly how far we've come along. The spreadsheet is getting more advanced by the day. We're getting search features, we're getting automatic notification type things, and the UI design is improving by the day. So it's really fun to see just how a little bit of work over time from all of us has really contributed to something amazing. You can check it out on our website, designoriented.net. You can find the Mario Maker part. You can find the link to this spreadsheet either on our Discord or on the Getting Started section on the Mario Maker workshop. Good luck finding it. But it's open to the public. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're in the workshop, good luck to everybody. Don't let it stress you out. This is an experiment, and this is hard. Right? Everything in the workshop has been increasingly getting harder. The assignments have been getting harder. The concepts are getting harder. And even while these projects are going, I'm going to continue to teach lessons on the stream. We're going to talk about different types of level design. We're going to talk about speed running things. Specifically, we're going to talk about counterpoint, which is the most complex lesson. So good, enjoy that coming in about 3 weeks, and some other high level topics. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what happens, and good luck to everyone. Until next time, guys, my name is Richard Terrell. I go by Kirby Kid. Peace.
You said it was pretty straightforward, as I was feeling. I won't freak out, but I'm probably a few steps.